Yo, what's up, 209 bitch? Yeah, I'm talking about you, Nate Diaz. We scrapped it out about 9 years ago, but maybe it was a fluke. So what do you say we do it one more time for the fans? And when you sign in that dotted line, before you get in the cage, make sure you get real high this time. So when I spike you on your head, put you in a full Nelson like last time, you won't feel a thing. See you in Chicago, homie.
Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
I don't even know where to start with this video, full-time family, but Clay Guida has just pulled a legit Angela Magana. Yo, this is like almost exactly how that. You remember when Angela Magana, she's no longer in the UFC, she talked trash on Cyborg Online, and this was a little more personal. You know, whenever Clay Guida was talking trash with Nate Diaz, he did call him a bitch, which is probably over the line for Nate Diaz, but Angela Magana, you know, was not just trying to sell a fight with Chris Cyborg. They're not in the same division. She was just like attacking Cyborg personally. So, you know, it wasn't like she was trying to build a fight. So whenever Chris Cyborg ran into Angela Magana, she confronted her about it, and Angela Magana ended up getting punched. Now, this is a fighter versus a fighter, so there was a lot of backlash when Angela Magana then went on to press charges on Cyborg. Everyone saying, yo, how can you be a fighter talking shit on another fighter on social media, and then when she confronts you about it, you press charges? Like, that ain't how that shit works. And that's what's going on here. But the difference is, Clay Guida was actually trying to sell a fight, right? So I'm interested to see what you guys think about this. Now, I know there's going to be the fucking gangsters, you know, all of those people that are just fucking go by the street code according to them on the internet. They say, fuck that, he can't press charges here, talking about Clay Guida. And I hear you and all, but I mean, if I'm online, but see, I'm not a fighter. This is the difference. He's a fighter. But this is why I'm still interested to know what you think, because Clay Guida is a fighter, yes. So maybe you think he shouldn't have pressed charges. But whenever he was talking shit on Nate Diaz, he was trying to sell a fight, right? When he called him, what up, 209 bitch? We all saw the video. I replayed it at the beginning of this. At the end, he said, what up? You know, meet me at UFC 225, rematch. He was actually, if they book a fight, that's promo for the fight. That's helping book a fight. So he's trying to get Nate Diaz to agree to a fight inside the octagon. He probably wasn't trying to get in some fucking street brawl at it when he was supporting one of his teammates watching these fights, because that's where this took place. Nate Diaz had a teammate on the card, and Chris Avila, I believe, and Clay Guida also was there to support probably a teammate, Team Alpha Male member or something like that. And so Clay Guida probably wasn't there to confront Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz, if you want to fight me, I called you out for the octagon. But now that fight doesn't make, of course Clay Guida is not going to get a UFC fight with Nate Diaz. That doesn't make sense for Nate Diaz at this point. Nate Diaz has people calling him out of his name, champions calling him out of his name, contenders calling him out of his name, everybody trying to provoke him into a UFC fight so they can, you know, get some of that clout he got from beating Conor McGregor. Nate Diaz is now a big fight, a lottery ticket for some of these fighters, so they're calling him bitches. You know, telling him, don't be scared, homie. Tell him they're going to stop and slap him. People are really disrespecting Nate Diaz trying to get that fight. So now when Nate Diaz runs into you in person and confronts you, what is it, that same energy? Or I was just trying to get a fight with you. Because if you know anything about Nate Diaz, as a lot of UFC fans and MMA fans do, he doesn't seem like the type of guy to just let you call him a bitch in person. Nothing like that. If you do that, it's definitely going down. My squad versus your squad right here, right now. And that's what happened there. And we saw after the event, one of Clay Guida's friends or somebody said they were trying to de-escalate the situation. They seemed like they were on Clay Guida's side. He posted a picture flipping Nate Diaz off and said, "You slapped like a bitch." Then he said that he got slapped for trying to de-escalate the situation. So man, it looks like Nate Diaz was causing havoc at this event. Stockton slapped the one dude, and now according to Clay Guida's team, it's looking like Clay Guida's pressing charges, and they are saying that this is what Clay Guida's manager John Fosco had to say. He confirmed that his client has indeed filed a police report. The manager also confirmed that Nate Diaz shoved Clay from behind without any warning. This shove allegedly sent Clay Guida into a metal guardrail, which his lip blooded him up. Now this is one thing we have to keep in mind, which we had to keep in mind at UFC 223 when Conor McGregor threw the dolly through the window. These are fighters we're talking about here. Clay Guida's a fighter. Fighters aren't known for having the most money in the world and falling out of control and being rich. So whenever you see another fighter, whether it's Conor McGregor or Nate Diaz, who does have millions of dollars at this point, and you want a piece of it, whether through a fight, but if you can't get a fight with them, as we see, Clay Guida's not going to get a Nate Diaz fight as far as in the UFC is concerned. Well, now that you just put your hands on me, allegedly, outside of the octagon, now maybe I can sue you. Ray Borg, Michael Chiesa, both of them were in the seat where the glass broke, and Michael Chiesa had blood on his head, and Ray Borg's fight was also rescheduled because his cornea got scratched allegedly. Now with that being said, how the extent of those injuries, they're definitely probably minor injuries, but at the same time they could have been worse. You had to lose, your fight was rebooked in the UFC 223 case, so they might have a lawsuit on their hands, as well as a lot of people probably could on that fuss. But they've got a better case because their fights were, they've got losses of wages and stuff like that. But now Clay Guida, he just got hands put on him by a fighter that a lot of people assume is now a multi-millionaire, Nate Diaz. So now since Clay Guida's already filing charges, what's to stop him from suing Nate Diaz? And if he sues Nate Diaz, does Nate Diaz have to just like settle now? Who knows? But that's a situation. That's why it doesn't really work when you're like a tough guy or gangster and you have a lot of money. Because when people confront you, unless you've got a lot of money to really be able to keep paying off lawsuits, because you can't just get into a massive altercation at every time you're supporting one of your teammates, or someone might press charges, someone might file a lawsuit, and then where are you at? You backed up yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what's going to happen here, but I will tell you this. Clay Guida's going to get to kind of take this out on Nate Diaz just a little bit. Let me explain how. Clay Guida is going to be fighting Nate Diaz's teammate, Bobby Green, at UFC 225. Bobby Green has spoke out in the past against people who are calling out Nate Diaz, knowing that, it doesn't make sense for him to necessarily take the fight. Bobby Green's like, but I'm going to come in here and fight for my boy. So Bobby Green does have a relationship with Nate Diaz, and that's who Clay Guida is about to be fighting at UFC 225. So keep that in mind. That's going to add to that fight, and it's earlier on the card on free TV, Clay Guida versus Bobby Green. And, this might play into that fight. Tensions are probably going to be high. So with that being said, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know what you think about Clay Guida pressing charges on Nate Diaz following that massive scuffle. I'm out. And as always, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell right next to it so you're notified every time I upload a video. I'm out.
Da 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 da. It's the motherfucking DOWG.